She'll always be the first lady of our hearts. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 revealing facts from Michelle Obama's book. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at the most interesting and surprising information we learned from the former First Lady's memoir, Becoming. Number 10. She didn't think her husband would win.
If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible,
Mrs. Obama covers a lot of ground in this memoir. And of course, one period of her life that readers were eager to hear about was the historic 2008 presidential election.
And we have breaking news, momentous news, really.
Where she stood alongside her husband on his way to victory. Shockingly, though, Michelle admits that she wasn't always confident that Barack could pull off the win because of the racial tensions she knew existed in the country. She wrote bluntly, quote, "Barack was a black man in America after all. I didn't really think he could win." She said that she and other African Americans at the time were reluctant to be optimistic because of this.
Yes, we can. Thank you. God bless you. And may God bless the United States of America.
Number 9. The story behind her face at that inauguration.
The vibrant diversity of the two previous inaugurations was gone.
If you were watching the coverage of Donald Trump's 2017 presidential inauguration, you may have noticed that not everyone there looked happy about the big event. Many news outlets posted photos of Michelle Obama's face at various points during the proceedings, looking skeptical or even downright peeved. In Becoming, she talks about that day and the dismay she felt about the homogenous nature of the people on stage, which didn't feature much diversity in terms of race or gender. She admits that she, quote, "stopped even trying to smile," and let viewers get a glimpse of her real emotions. Number 8. She snuck into Pride celebrations.
I was sitting and watching it on TV and realizing I'm living this. I said, I have to break out of this. I want to go outside and I want to be a part of that celebration.
While the Obamas may have been at the center of the news cycle for more than 8 years, there were some times when Michelle wanted to be able to react to a major decision just like the rest of the public. When the Supreme Court announced that same-sex marriage would be legal across the country in June of 2015, a crowd of revelers gathered outside the White House, which was lit up like a rainbow pride flag. Michelle was watching the news unfold on TV, but decided to grab Malia and try to sneak out in order to celebrate this historic moment. Number 7. Her guidance counselor told her she wouldn't get into Princeton.
You are more than capable of going to college, being successful, and going on and doing whatever you want in life. I sit here because I am you all. There is no difference between me and you.
Michelle Obama was one of the top students in her high school, but when it came to start applying to colleges, her guidance counselor tried to dissuade her from aiming high and sending an application to Princeton, saying that she wasn't, quote, Princeton material. She didn't let these comments get to her, however, and she went elsewhere for a letter of recommendation, saying, quote, "I wasn't gonna let one person's opinion dislodge everything I knew about myself." And we all know how this one ends, because she went on to graduate from Princeton and attend Harvard Law.
Went to Harvard Law, all that good stuff. That's where I met my husband, so college can be good for a few things.
Number 6. She and Barack jumped right into their relationship. The Obamas' first date has been fictionalized in the 2016 movie South Side with You, and as they tell it, the real thing sounds pretty darn magical.
So what's this boy's name?
Barack Obama.
Barack, what up?
The two met when Barack became a summer associate at the law firm Michelle was working at, Sidley Austin LLP. They ended up dating, and as Michelle explains in Becoming, they, quote, "wasted no time being casual." Because Barack was going back to school at the end of the summer, their relationship was fast-tracked. And the rest, of course, is history.
And probably by the end of that date, it was over.
You were sold.
I was sold.
Number 5. She doesn't have political aspirations.
Would you ever run for office?
No,
I have to ask it.
No.
No kind of office?
No.
During the 2016 election, many people were vocal about their interest in seeing Michelle Obama seek political office. And we have a hunch the feeling will be the same in 2020. But in her book, she breaks some bad news. She has no interest in entering the political arena. She makes things abundantly clear in the epilogue, saying plainly that she has, quote, "no intention of running for office ever." Hey, people have changed their minds in the past though, so we don't have to completely lose hope just yet.
I think at this point, everybody's qualified and everybody should run.
Number 4. Barack proposed in a unique way. In the book, Michelle shares the, let's say, not-so-romantic way that Barack asked her to marry him. The two were out for dinner celebrating Barack's completion of the bar exam when they began to talk about marriage. Barack said that he, quote, didn't really see the point of it, which understandably put Michelle on the defensive and caused a tense discussion. Not long after, however, their waiter showed up with a dessert plate covered by a silver lid, and inside was an engagement ring box. She says that he said to her playfully, quote, well, that should shut you up.
You were asking earlier what keeps me sane, what keeps me balanced, what allows me to deal with the pressure. It is this young lady right here and our 2 daughters.
Number 3. The Obamas underwent couples counseling.
You come to a relationship whole, and that I couldn't look to Barack and he couldn't look to me to be everything, that we had to make our everythings on our own.
We can probably all agree that Barack and Michelle are relationship goals, but they're open about the fact that the marriage doesn't happen without putting in some work. In Becoming, Michelle details some of their experience with marriage counseling, which they started doing not long after becoming parents. Even though this was long before Barack was elected president, his career still kept him very busy, and the two needed help communicating about the time they were forced to spend apart. Clearly it worked, because look at where they are now. Number 2. The story behind her royal faux pas. It was the hug seen around the world when Michelle Obama famously engaged in physical contact with Queen Elizabeth II, a major faux pas. Footage emerged of the two with their arms around each other, sparking much discussion in the news.
But the Queen made the first move. This is the most astounding thing, because the Queen is not known for being touchy-feely.
So how did that hug end up happening? Apparently, the two women were discussing how much their heels were hurting their feet after the Queen commented on Mrs. Obama's Jimmy Choos. Sadly, we don't have audio of the full conversation, but the two continued to be friendly in later meetings. Number 1. Her daughters were conceived through IVF. The biggest piece of information that has made headlines in the wake of the book being published has to do with the Obamas experiencing infertility while trying to have their children. Before Sasha and Malia were born, Michelle had a miscarriage, and she said of the experience, quote, a miscarriage is lonely, painful, and demoralizing almost on a cellular level. In Becoming, she encourages women to not feel like a miscarriage is a personal failure, though she acknowledges how difficult it can be. The couple later found success using in vitro fertilization, which is how they conceived their daughters. Because women of color have higher infertility rates but are less likely to seek treatment, many experts agree that Mrs. Obama's admission could be an important breakthrough in infertility awareness. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.